You know, someone had to raise me while my mom was busy beating people's faces into pavement and having her hooker friends over, you know?
Kirsche, are you a GTA protagonist?
Objection, I don't have a mother. I have a person that has the womb I came out of. That's fair. I've gotten woken up by the police in the middle of the night as a child to be like, hey, we're taking you and your brother to your grandparents' house, alright? We'll just get you out of bed, get dressed, you're going to your grandma's place.
Mommy's a little coked out of her fucking mind.
And I think, like, she managed to only get arrested and, like, put in jail. Like, she's been arrested a bunch of times, but, like, arrested and actually jailed once. And that was for illegally selling firearms. She basically had been selling firearms for a while, and then she sold one to, like, an undercover police officer.
Oh, common mistake.
And so my brother, my grandparents were like, well, he's not, you know, our family, but it's her brother, so we'll take him in. And we had to have, like, CPS supervised visits for like a year, and whenever we would come and she would like hug us, she'd be like, okay, now you gotta tell the lady that, you know, how much you love your mommy and how great I am. You gotta tell her all these nice things so that they'll stop having supervised. You want to go back home, don't you? You want to see the house again, don't you?
Holy shit!
When I went to visit my mom over the summer, and it was the summer that I was turning 16. I think I mentioned like my brother giving me fucking boxed cake mix that year. Yeah, my brother was like, I don't know how to make cake. Like, mom isn't gonna get you anything, so I bought you some cake mix. We can make your birthday cake together. Yeah, he's 3 years younger than me, so he was like 13 while I was 16. You know, I was like, it's cute. But for my birthday, my mom actually did give me a gift of sorts.
Oh?
She decided to tell me a story about how my dad isn't really my dad. And that my actual dad is like my uncle, but for financial reasons, she didn't want to have my uncle be like the legal father. She wanted to like be able to sap my dad that I've been told is my dad's like family resources so I could have a better life. And I was, you know, as a 16-year-old, like, I had known my mom was kind of weird, right? But I was like, she's still my parent, you know, she's not gonna like take advantage of me in this way, right? So she tells me this whole story. And then she's like, don't tell your father because he'd be really angry. You know, like, he's acted as a dad to you all these years. Like, they've taken care of you this whole time. They've been nothing but a family to you. But I just thought that it's time you knew, like, who your biological father was. And I was like, oh, that's strange. And then she slyly works into the conversation. She's like, you know, I have a friend whose son is willing to marry you. And if you get married, you can become an emancipated minor. And if you're an emancipated minor, you don't have to listen to your grandparents or your father anymore. You can just come live with me full time.
Thanks, Mom! What the fuck?
And so, like, I just lived with this for the rest of the summer, because, like, you know, I was still fucking teenage dumb brain, and I was just like, is this true? Is this real? Like, what is happening? And when I got back home and I told my dad about this, I had never seen him so angry in his entire life, because obviously it was just a crock of shit, because she just wanted to marry me off and get me emancipated so I could stay there with her, since he wouldn't let me live with her full time. For obvious reasons, I think.
Yeah, I think the reasons there might be obvious. How did he react to the not his child part? Was that even true, or?
No, it's not true at all. He's my biological father. She just wanted to, like, put that kernel of distrust in me so that I could rebel against them further and be like, fuck you, I want to live with mom.
What?
Yeah, it was an interesting time. The guy that she wanted to marry me off to was like 21 or 22 as well, which 16 and 22 is legal in North Carolina, but like, no thank you. Who would want to live with a mom that does that? You see, in her little twisted brain, she thought she was doing good by us children. And I remember one of the times we had to call the police because her boyfriend was beating the fuck out of her. When the police showed up, he had, like, ran off. Like, I didn't want to call because I had been through this before, right? Where you call them and they show up and she's just like, oh, the kids just got scared. You know, nothing's actually happened. Everything's fine. So I, like, threw it at my brother. My brother's like, I don't want to fucking call. So he threw the phone back at me and I was like, I don't want to do it! And so I threw it back at him and he was like, fuck this! And he, like, left. So I had to do it. I was like, god damn it. Fucking God damn, and like, you know, it's the same thing. And she's just like, oh, the kids are just scared, you know, it's just a little fighting, just a little yelling, you know, nothing terrible. She's the cool mom that lets the kids do coke. I mean, yeah. Fucking, if you had a drug of choice, she could probably have gotten it for you.
Oh my god.
And it's like, I occasionally when I think back on like all this shit that I've been through with my mom, and it's just like, how the fuck? My dad wasn't like super religious, but he came from like a pretty strict Catholic family. How the fuck did they end up together?
One mistaken drunk night.
Oh my god. So, my mom, after she was done with her Aryan Brotherhood boyfriend thing, they never actually got married, thankfully.
Okay.
Once she was done with him, she started covering up her swastika tattoos, you know, reintegrating to being like a not crazy person.
Okay.
She met this guy who was like a weed dealer and decided to date him instead. And I was like, all right, well, that, you know, that seems more chill than a literal white supremacist. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they were getting married, and she was like, I would like you to come to my wedding. And I was like, oh god, I don't know if I want to commit to this, right? Like, I mean, I'm fine with texting you every once in a while because my grandma told me it would be good to do, but okay, fine. You know, I could maybe see other family members while I'm there. Like, I'll come to the wedding.
Like, that could have been your wedding, man.
That's true.
It could have been
my wedding.
Yeah.
But I go to her house. You know, the wedding's in like 2 days.
Uh-huh.
We're setting up everything because she has like a yard, so we're setting up everything in the yard. The day of the wedding comes, and her, I guess, fiance, they're getting married. He has a son that's like around my age, like a couple years younger. And we were walking down the aisle together. Both of us are kind of mentally disabled, so instead of linking arms like normal humans would walking down the aisle, we held hands. Fast forward, you know, the wedding went off without a hitch. Wasn't anything super crazy.
Okay.
A couple of months later, she texts me, and she's like, "Do you remember his son from the wedding?" And I was like, "Yeah. Why? Like what happened? He wanted to be like a rapper or some shit, right? He was like sending me SoundCloud shit."
Oh, okay.
And my mom was like, "No, he just tried to kill me and my husband." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" I like my mom has been a habitual liar her whole life, so when she tells me stories, I have to be like, you need to give me some proof that this actually happened for me to believe you.
Well, like, is she
And
one of those
she
people?
had police reports, so.
Oh.
And he like axed down their bedroom door and like tried to harm them using an axe, and then took out part of the wall and then ran off into the woods where the police found him. So I held hands with an almost axe murderer.
Damn, man, if he had gone through with it, well, first of all, that would have been unfortunate because your mom would have died. But second of all, man,
Probably.
that would have been like a really, like, can you imagine, like, the press you would have gotten for that? Like, oh man, you could have really kickstarted your Twitch career.
That's true. I could be like, I was the Twitch streamer that held hands with an axe murderer.
Yeah,
Come ask me questions.
Doing it out for the thrill.